too to note from the last game, and I think after, you know, kind of mulling it over, that the tier 2s being alive when they pushed mid probably hurt them more than anything. Because when they got that Rax, it was pretty uncontested, right?
Yeah.
They get that 1 kill on the Shadow Demon, they just take it. Imagine if at least one other lane had been open at that point. They would have been able to just steamroll it.
Yeah, and that all comes down to a lot of the split pushing that was done by primarily Resolution, as well as Big Ghost Stick. Pretty good job. Here in game number 2, we have a pretty interesting draft already. Faces Void, who I don't think we really talked about this too much, but the fact he's first pick, I feel like this is some sort of meta that's developed here at TI with the teams scrimming against each other. All of a sudden, Faceless Void having a much higher pick priority than previously. He gets first pick once again, and Team Empire, they're going to counter with Spear Breaker, Dro Ranger, which is an interesting one, with the Nyx Assassin then being second pick by Team Secret.
Puppy is the type of captain who I always feel, and I think I mentioned this in the first game too, he likes to direct counter and take you out of your comfort zone. Like, you saw how much emphasis he put on laning phase in game number 1. And Void is just one of those laners that, even if you don't win your lane, you're still offering a tremendous amount of contribution during teamfights. You land one good chrono, you're just good to go. And we saw, obviously, in the last match that Gossick struggled. You know, he landed an airball chrono, and it was pretty painful. Sure, at that point, they had already kind of made their way back into the game, but the hero still did its job.
Yep.
And that's the thing about Void, is he is crazy stable as a core position. There's not a lot of core heroes where you look at and you just know what value that you're going to get out of the hero. Sometimes you have a bad game and you can't do anything. Whereas Void is just like, hit my chronos. That's it.
This draft is actually going by so fast.
It is going very fast.
Yeah, look at it. We just had Axe, boom, instantly Winter Wyvern. Back and forth to Team Empire, who instantly pick up Enchantress. I want to talk about a couple of these heroes. I first want to start with Spirit Breaker, because I feel like he's the 4 position that, at least in our game and the opening game that we're both kind of watching, was kind of getting ignored. But I feel like he is the 4 position that has risen the most. You know, Night Stalker, I think, is still probably one of the best out there. Clockwork has fallen. You know, he used to be one of the best, and now I think he's fallen very, very much by the wayside. Spirit Breaker is now like the new Clockwork. You know, he's a 4 position that really just can't be contested, who just kind of like stands, and no one wants to fight him. And he still offers pretty good control going into the mid game, thanks to having a stun that goes through Magic Immunity.
Spirit Breaker has always kind of been that hero where you look at a lineup and you see weak lanes and you just want to pick SB. So when you know that you're going to pick something like a Drow Ranger, you're looking for a lane advantage, you know, bare minimum. Spirit Breaker helps supplement that. Axe is very good in lane against melee heroes, which currently Team Secret have 3. So I think that the Axe game is also going to be decent. Enchantress, fantastic against what I assume is a support duo of Nyx Assassin and Winter Wyvern, because these heroes do not have any way of dealing with creeps in the early game. So you enchant something, you know, maybe it's an Ursa, Satyr, doesn't really matter. You can just harass, you can be annoying. And these heroes are opening up a tremendous amount of space for a last pick mid hero that's going to have the effect of Drow Aura anyway. So you're looking at maybe the shoe being on the opposite foot of Team Empire having this very laning focused kind of team that they want to snowball and push with, whereas that's what Secret did in game 1.
Right.
Secret are much more about, okay, we got a good team fight. Our wave clear is not the best, but it's okay. Like Winter Wyvern's Arctic Blast is pretty decent, and then you have Axes. But that's it. So again, it's going to be down to a team that has heavy push against a team that needs enough time to get their wave clear up. It feels very, very similar to Game 1 and how the teams mesh together.
Beastmaster, the most recent pickup here for Team Secret. He's an interesting one. I talked to Kazu about some offlaners going into TI. I was just kind of, you know, we're going back and forth about what our thoughts were about some of the heroes, and Beastmaster kind of came up and, you know, he said, I think this hero's good again. I think, like, it's not really being picked up right now. It's a bit slow, but it really works out. It's a strong laning phase hero. It actually works out really well, similar to, you know, these Legion Commander type heroes that are able to do quite well against maybe a single support. It forces a lot of tension in the off lane, and it's always going to get its farm. It contributes a lot when it comes to the vision game, which is quite important element to team fights and this general idea of what we're looking at for this meta, right? Which is pushing out waves and being able to have a control of the map to be able to enter into the team fights that are advantageous to you. Beastmaster adds a lot in that regard.
I think he is probably one of the only heroes in the game besides Doom who just, most of the time, solely, you either go the Necrobuck build with Blink or you just buy auras. Like, you just build, like, Vlads, you get your Solar Crest, you get your drums, you build your AC or whatever. You're a walking buff for your team. Yeah. And I think that's one of the cool things about the hero, that it doesn't really matter what composition you pick, everyone's going to benefit from 45 attack speed. You're going to be able to push. You can be the hero who sits in the side lanes. Not a lot of... I guess Darkseer, for example, could do that. Obviously, it's banned this game, but there are some offlaners that can sit around the map and be kind of what Resolution was in Game 1 to Empire, being that presence who's always just constantly push, push, push. You have Hawk Vision, so it's very hard to gank you as well. So even if the hero is slow, he is very versatile. He's good in team fights, because BKB lockdown. He's good at providing vision. He can split push. There's not really a lot the hero can't do. He's just not particularly amazing at anything.
Last pick for Team Empire, their mid is going to be a Medusa. So they've got a Medusa Drow Ranger strategy, but they're fighting into a Phantom Lancer, one of the known counters, and I think he's been in, I mean, I've been seeing him picked up in a lot of high-level pubs lately. He actually seems pretty good, and he's a great counter to the Drow Ranger, and can potentially rip through the Medusa as well, thanks to Diffusal Blade. Obviously, there's that interaction where you've got the FN can use the Stone Gaze, and that will end up killing the illusions, but I think you don't really care overly much as Phantom Lancer about that mechanic. You can still have Doppelganger. So
he's grown a little bit on me for sure, the PL. I think situationally, the team has very limited AoE on Empire, so sure, you get your Axe Call, and then a Snake, and maybe if SB like charges through everything. That's the extent of your AoE right now on the side of Empire. So PL's always, since the change, had this very weird timing to me, where he goes from being pretty weak to crazy strong for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then he's just not really the same presence for the rest of the game. And it doesn't matter how many items you get, because the illusions nowadays just do a whole heck of a lot less than they used to.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely a very mid-game focused hero, whereas in previous iterations of Phantom Lancer, he was looked at as one of the great late-game heroes. So I do feel like his timing is a little bit oriented towards earlier in the game. It also may not have the greatest synergy, this lineup of Team Secrets. You've got a Faceless Void with Beastmaster, which is kind of cool, right? You've got the extra attacks being for Void. He very much appreciates that. And same goes with Beastmaster with Phantom Lancer. But you have a Phantom Lancer with the Chronosphere, which, you know, any classic melee hero is not going to have a fantastic time with. I feel like in general, Team Secret's just kind of looking a little bit less at maybe what you were talking about, like less focusing on synergy with ourselves and more encountering the enemy heroes. What I see out of this is a lot of ways to be able to protect towers and counter Drow Ranger strats in general.
It certainly provides a tremendous amount of lockdown. Yapzor.
Wow, level 1 Battle Hunger may mean a death on Yapzor as they slow him down double.
That's painful, though, that he skilled that and he's not going to get a kill.
I can't believe he
skilled it, like, right away, too.
Yeah,
there was, like, no hesitation. I guess if they're going to send a creep up there, it might be okay if he can get to level 2 fast. Depends on what the lanes are going to be. So, realistically, it's going to be, what? A Void and a Nyx, maybe a Winter Wyvern. Depends on, you know, how Secret want to shape their lanes. But either way, I think he'll hit level 2 pretty easily.
Yeah, if you kind of look at it this way, they don't really have a threat.
Yeah, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, he'll be able to hit level 2.
Yeah, and what I really like about Battle Hunger is being able to just throw it on a support and run at them, right? And I don't think there's no turnaround. So if he just Battle Hungers and runs at somebody, I don't feel like there's this immediate, like, no, you're not able to run at us. We have this power, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Completely.
So might be most terrible thing in the world. Puppy is actually sitting down here as a Winter Wyvern. He's going to try and get our Beastmaster off to a really good early start. Now, Beastmasters, I think nowadays, they don't actually go for the Boar level 1 just because it's too weak. So with the Axes level 1, they'll be able to do a lot of damage to this Drow Ranger from the get-go.
Yeah, we'll see how far up Resolution wants to go. He's seeing only one support on the map, so yeah, he's going to hide. Just very good awareness. Already a charge coming bottom, so at the very least, it'll be a 2v2.
Charge hits onto Kezu. Resolution not actually putting any damage onto Kezu at that time. He is playing it safe as hell. Finally, he's going to poke out as this next creep wave comes in. I think he kind of knows that if the support is hiding, it's hiding on the right-hand side in the trees. He's trying to keep the creep wave as a barrier. Sure enough, Maposhka pops into the trees. Puppey immediately pops out his Arctic Burn. Swing and a miss there on the axes from Kezu.
I think he actually just wanted to kill that patch of trees, just so the Resolution wouldn't have anywhere to stand. Like, where does he stand now if the wave meets there?
Meanwhile, middle lane, we do have Rogers Enchantress going to be camping up here. We talked about forward positions and their presence in the mid lane, how important it is. Well, there's very few heroes that actually have more presence in the laning phase, immediate laning phase, than Enchantress. Not because of her, but because of her creep. Especially a Satyr Tormentor, 4 shots of the Shockwave. And ends up on being, what, 600 that in total?
Yep. I think it is 640. It's a ton, man. 160 damage for 100 mana cost spell at, like, minute 2. Doesn't get much better than that.
Really doesn't. Makes me think back to the old days of the Harpies. That would go mid and spam
God. That was the worst. If you play mid in that patch, if you had an Enchantress on the enemy team, you just said, okay, I need a support to come here just so they can eat spells.
Yeah.
Like, just take the lightnings for me.
And also hope for a little bit of RNG that he just didn't get the Harpy in the first, like, 2 camps. Mid one finally laid that Satyr down. But, oh, he actually had to pop the Doppelganger there because that bouncing snake might have actually killed him. It's more bounces it does, obviously, the more damage. So that third bounce would have been a hefty amount. He is going to pop that healing salve, and the Yapsor is going to give mid one the space to do so as well.
That's such a nice rune for Nyx. Like, a lot of the time, you feel pretty bad just haphazardly throwing your spells out because they cost so much mana, and your mana pool is pretty low. But you get an Arcade rune, you're living life. You're just walking in there and just throwing them out. You get like 2 or 3 full rounds of spells, I think, with that rune.
Yeah, 60 mana cost, mana burn. That is value.
Yeah, that's definitely the dream. But the laning phase so far, the only thing that really, I think, bears mentioning is just, again, Gostic having a super easy lane. We kind of expected this. Like you mentioned, they don't have the heroes to necessarily punish him.
Right.
And now Rogers making the rotation up too. They're going to be able to force MP back. This is a really hard kill, though.
Well, maybe the kill on Puppey is going to be a bit easier, but misses out on the Centaur stun. Unfortunately, the ensnare by the troll wasn't enough. Time walk away right before. I like the game plan that they did. It was really well thought out, what they did with this Beastmaster. You know, the Winter Wyvern gives a little bit of space. Even if they didn't get the harassment in on the Drow Ranger like they had hoped, it got Kezu into this Quelling Blade Poor Man Shield. The Poor Man Shield is particularly important because he's able to deal with the harassment of the Drow Ranger a lot easily. And you get to that level 3 where you have the boar, which is actually a threat rather than just an easy creep for the Drow Ranger to kill.
Yeah, I think it's just a very good understanding of the hero in general. Not a ton of teams run Beastmaster anymore, but Kezu is one of the guys, when he first made the transition over, he loved the hero. Like, he liked playing it quite a bit. So, again, top. Gostic just trying to go in here.
Gostic does manage to get one spin out, but the time walk away is going to undo that damage. Now he's actually a bit low, 250 HP. As Creep Wave starts getting cleared through, Secret's going to feel more comfortable laying damage onto him. MP is 6 seconds away. Is he going to keep chasing for the chance? Well, they do manage to get the stun. That'll make things a lot easier. If he gets a bash, guaranteed kill, and doesn't even need it, actually. First blood goes to MP as Gostic gets a bit too aggressive up in that top lane, ends up getting caught by the rotation at the Nyx's side.
Chased him for quite a while, though. Those types of kills, I always kind of think in the back of my head, was it worth chasing him and missing, like, potentially 2 full waves of creeps?
Yeah.
That's always the trade-off, right? And it's not like he's even doing bad because of the death. He's still the highest CS in the game. So he's going to walk back up there. He's going to have full health and mana now. And he's going to feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, MP is going to have nothing to deal with him. Couldn't even get to the side shop to pick up boots or anything. How's mid lane going? 17-6 for FN's Medusa compared to the Phantom Lancer sitting at 29-18. It seems like this lane. I mean, I'm sure Enchantress had some part to play in it, but it does look like the Phantom Lancer really wins this matchup against the Medusa, very similar to the Invoker, which was the last time that we saw a lot of Phantom Lancer, was when he was picked up as mids against Invoker players.
So the one thing that I think gives mid one a really good advantage in this matchup is obviously both heroes can buy bottle, but I think mid one has the easier time getting the runes. Because if a Medusa tries to walk to a rune with no boots, because right now he just went for the double Wraith Band and just trying to abuse that drow or a damage, you put yourself at pretty high risk of death. But if you just have like this really tanky, annoying Nyx Assassin running around for you and scouting out runes and stuff, well, the Enchantress really just wants to pressure the lane directly, you get the runes, you win the lane, because you can spam. You can just throw lances at the Medusa over and over. I'm actually kind of surprised he hasn't purchased a raindrop. It's like 6.5 minutes in. I guess maybe he's just a little strapped for money at the moment.
Enchantress, Raju gonna make his next rotation. Looks like the bottom lane where Kazu is gonna return. He was a brief little moment there in the jungle. Show Up now is about to pick up his level 6. Resolution just grabs his, so that's obviously a huge increase in damage for everybody involved. Radiant side, top lane, bit of a dive here. Puppy. This man just got out Miposhka, unless they get a bash. Oh, at the last half second. The last swing does stop the TP. Miposhka will fall into that.
He does have the 3 points into time lock. A lot of the time, I guess if your lane is more difficult, you probably just max time walk first. But if you just want to get a kill in chrono, then you just max time lock. So it's definitely a choice that paid off there, getting the 5% extra chance to bash.
Yeah.
Showing him who's boss.
I feel like when you go for the like 4-1-1 build or something like that, you just don't have no damage, you know?
Yeah, you need teammates in order for that build to function. Or you need to go for like a more late game centric thing.
Oh, FN is going for it, trying to get to the shrine before the next nuke. He will get there. And with the value of the mana, maybe it's not enough actually. Miposhka is going to need to help him out here. Gets the charge onto all those illusions. Mid one has enough mana for one lance, but no doppelganger, and is not going to make it out against these creeps, it looks like. Throws down the nuke on FN with his dying breath. Team Empire do manage to pick up their first kill, and what a kill it is. Well, mid laner of mid one, who's level 7. That was some much needed golden experience for Empire.
That was a very fortunate creep to have in that situation. Like having the wolf for the extra damage and having the Hellbear Smasher, that's probably like the best combination of creeps. I guess you could sub out the Hellbear for a Satyr, but even then it doesn't slow, right? Yeah. You get the slow and you get the damage that killed all the illusions that let them know right away which PL was the real PL. And he only had 1 point into Doppelganger, so he wasn't able to get away. Very nice stuff. Good turnaround there from Empire.
All around, CS is looking quite good for Empire if you're focused on the side lanes. Gnostic, 63 and 4, 56 and 16 for Resolution's Drow Ranger. A little bit of that is obviously going to be Boars, so it's slightly inflated for him. But the real downer for Empire here is FN. Man, what is with it? Secret is just always threatening FN. Poor guy.
They've given him, I would say, subpar matchups 2 games in a row.
Ooh, bottom lane looks like Kezu led off with the Primal Roar. NPT beat in. Got the Chronosphere down, but he didn't manage to really get the bashes needed to Resolution. He's actually going to pop the healing salve, turn around here, and MP doesn't have the time walk up. He only has the low level 2, and that's not going to be enough. Now they're slow onto Kezu. They might just turn this thing entirely around onto Team Secret. Kezu's going to try and get the kill on him. Miposhka can't even get that much. What was a double ulti used to kill the Resolution Drow Ranger ends up failing entirely, and Resolution ends up getting 2 kills in return.
He might even, well, he might not get the tower, but he's going to get a lot of damage on it.
Oh, yeah.
He popped the aura as well, so the range creeps are just going to be going to town. I guess he's feeling a little bit unsafe at the moment, just going to go ahead and back off. Maybe seeing a rotation coming down. They don't have any wards in that area of the map. Probably just saw the heroes leave mid. Just decided.
After that mid tower drops, it's so easy for Secret to just cut through that Radiant jungle. It's going to be safe. How much of this do you think is, Oh, Blink Dagger already picked up by Gnostic, and he's managed to jump on a mid one. Huge kill. They've now killed mid one, the Phantom Lancer, who has been, I mean, Secret had been baiting him really hard. You know, they just kind of like helped him win his lane, also had the better matchup in heroes in the 1v1. And now he's just died twice. He's the hero that has all the farm for them, and they're still going for more. Puppey does manage to save himself, though, with a Cold Embrace, and Roger will not be caught by any of the Secret's heroes.
Yeah, that is... You look at that timing, I mean, sure, his lane was easy and everything, but he is just crushing it this game. He's got so much farm, 79 CS, an 11-minute game. Even with the one death, you know, the safe lane tower as well on the side of Secret's going to be dropping here. Just really nice reaction overall, and immediately recognizing, hey, Secret reacted to this mid gank, just TP top. You know, go kill the tower, get the bonus objective. We forced a reaction, let's punish it.
And FN, I mean, this is one of the... Oh, there's the blink call. They managed to catch him again. Mid one. He's not going to be cut down this time around. Does manage to get the doppelganger on. That's actually turning and fighting and using his illusion to bait out. And runs the other way. He doesn't get out of here, does he? He managed to get the slow on to Gonstick, slowing down that blink dagger. The nuke actually cancels the bottle charge. 1 second up for the blink, though. Mid one's not making it out of here.
I think that's one of those tricks that you see, and... You fall for it maybe like 1 or 2 times. But then after that, I think against a team, okay, Puppey, you are just dead.
We did.
Goodbye.
Empire's killing it right now.
Dude, this is impressive, to say the least. Like, are they going to lose Kese as well?
They just might. Gonstick's coming in
the
with
blocks?
the blink on top of the creep wave to make it so much sweeter. Who needs Culling Blade? Don't need to use that mana if you don't have to. This is looking perfect. I mean, they've got this beautiful combination where Resolution's doing all this split pushing and tower killing, and even some hero killing, as he's setting up for a potential one on MP. And then FN is the big tanky Medusa who can stand in front of tower pushes, so Secret aren't able to get the turnaround, right?
Wow, they're gonna lose MP. They just killed him, basically, by casting a level 2 Gust and just auto-attacking him to death. Like, that's how much damage the team does right now.
Bottom lane, they're going to go into FN here simply because they have to, but a nice turnaround. Gonstick managed to get a 2-man blink-in call, but he doesn't get enough spins to really threaten anybody, so it looks like he's just going to have to trade his life for his allies. Oh,
that was close.
So close.
That was like, what, a quarter of a second?
Yeah. He was almost rewarded with the TP out, but
God, just make it. Imagine if he had his blade no finish there. I think he actually would have killed like 2 of them. He has been incredibly fortunate with his spins this game. Like, he gets a blink call and he immediately spins like 2 or 3 times on point every time.
I think this is in part sort of expected for Secret, the fact that this Axe is getting so far out of control, because look at their support duo. Nyx Assassin, Winter Wyvern, that's not anything to write home about. You've got also 3 cores that all kind of need help in some way. Mid always is going to need help. I think Beastmaster, you need to enable him in the first 2 levels. And then, obviously, a Faceless Void, he may have some survivability, but he's certainly going to need some help against the Axe. So it felt like there were like just too many problems in the laning phase that they were never going to be able to shut down all 3 of the cores. One of them was going to get really far out of control, and right now that's Gonstick's Axe. And also Resolution's Drow Ranger, who's currently sitting at 7k net worth after taking not just hero kills, but also tower.
They've pretty much hit every single kind of point. Okay, nice snipe there from Yapsor. Gets the courier with the Vendetta in the middle lane. So that's something, you know? I mean, you take what you can get.
Especially since it had the tome on it.
Yeah.
It's like a direct middle finger to the enemy support, you know? He's like, oh, you're looking at that. Well, I guess there's not even level 6s or level 7s. They are already at 7 and 9 on their Enchantress and Spirit Breakers. They really didn't need that tome.
It's pretty late, I think, for someone to be like level 5 unless you're behind.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, Secret, I would imagine if anyone was going to be level 5, it would either be the Nyx or it would be Puppey. But, you know, even they are both 7 at this point. But a smoke up, it's going to be an immediate rotation towards the bottom lane.
It can catch here. If they run into Yapsor, he's got his Vendetta coming up, so hopefully they have the counter vision for it. They don't have the charge and they don't have the counter vision, so that ends up being a smoke and a rotation wasted.
Surprising to see Mipushka not carrying around Dust. Like, Spirit Breaker and Clock, in my opinion, are like 2 of the best Dust carriers in the game, just because they're always going to be on top of you.
He all in invested for her and still not buying it. Yapsor, meanwhile, is going to continue to play his aggressive roaming ward strategy as the Nyx Assassin, using that Vendetta to scout out the enemy team. See See where the rotations are going. He does see a lot of heroes leave this jungle, so that'll be room for Kezu to poke out. Seriously push down this bottom wave.
Though one of the big problems I can see Secret running into this game is pretty similar to what I think Empire struggled with in Game 1 until the Luna got a lot of farm, which is you do not really have the ability of pushing lanes out that fast. So that means that you have to spend a longer period of time in the lanes. And when you do that, there's a Spirit Breaker, there's a Blink Axe. Like, those two heroes, they can kill pretty much anybody at this point in the game. Especially if the Axe gets lucky with the spins. So because they lack the wave clear, and because they have to show on the map more often, it kind of puts them at a disadvantage, I feel, this time.
Puts a lot of pressure on Gostic to successfully find those pickoffs.
He was
on
pretty
Team
close
Secret
there.
And just barely whiffs out. Killing them to Wyvern. Still though, he's in a good position to just push out the creep wave and finish up his blade mail, which is fast incoming. That'll seriously be a big upgrade in power for him, especially against some of these heroes like Faceless Void and Phantom Lancer, who usually the margins there are so razor thin against surviving against the Axe's initiation that blade mail can oftentimes be the thing that tips it over to the favor of the Axe. Get the successful culling.
As an avid core player myself, playing against a Blink Blade Mail Axe is probably the most frustrating experience in Dota.
Yeah.
Because he can have like 6k net worth and you can have 25k net worth, and that Blink Call still kills you. And you're just like, why do I even have items?
Yeah.
I don't know what my purpose is.
I'm just hurting myself, really.
It's not great.
All right, Phantom Lancer, this is one of those timings for Secret, right? Where you said, you know, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot. Some of these heroes are quite tanky and they just won't have some damage problems, right? Diffuse a blade, that'll help smooth things over a lot in this period of time. But that's really their only big source of damage so far. Even MP with his Mask of Madness, that's not a whole lot. Neither of the supports are really heavy hitters. Some other classic support. And Kezu is currently opting for a Solar Crest build. Not too surprising.
I like this route. I mean, it is pretty common. He's gonna get the Vlads, I guess, first.
Yeah.
Gonna save the Solar Crest for a little bit later, but he's just that presence in the bottom lane, you know? You kind of have to commit a lot to kill him. So I think that Empire are kind of debating with themselves. Is it worth it to go down there and actually kill Kezu? Because the lane is getting pushed out constantly. You know, he's sitting in the trees, just last hitting with his boars, trying to stay in the XP range. And over time, someone will eventually have to go and address this. And then when that happens, you know, maybe Secret, they find a Chrono, they find a Winter's Curse somewhere, or maybe just Yapzor scouting out with the Vendetta can be enough to set up a kill. But for now, it looks like Empire are not looking to do anything too aggressive right now. They just want to try to bide their time. They do have a Medusa, after all, one of the better late game heroes. But in my head, you know, we talk about the lack of damage on Secret, and it's definitely prevalent now. But if MP gets a lot of farm, and the Beastmaster has all these like teamfight aura items, and the PL also has a lot of farm, they can still sit there and you know, trade back and forth in the late game. It's not as if it's just an auto win if Empire make it late.
Right. You know, I haven't actually heard anybody give a name to it. This hide and tree meta that we've got going on.
It's the Jimmy meta.
Jimmy meta? I like that.
It's the Jimmy
that's
meta.
A good call, Draskell. But I feel like that's been like such a huge thing everyone's doing in the past year, since I think in general teams have a better understanding of how to be able to force movement from enemy teams and what the most efficient ways to do that is. You know, being able to push out a wave and TP back is really inefficient compared to pushing out, hiding in the trees, and then pushing out again, and then hiding in the trees, because the cost for the enemy team to actually successfully gank you, there's a lot of hard work that goes into ganking a split pusher like Beastmaster, who's hiding in the trees half the time and letting his boar push out. You have to maybe smoke out just to be able to get there, and then you have to run along the side of the map just to be able to find him somewhere in the trees, and even still, there's a chance he TPs out before you successfully get the stun on him.
It's a lot about commitment versus reward, like you're saying. Okay, charges the bird here. Might be in trouble for it.
Well, bird's the word. Doesn't even kill it.
Alright, it looks like he'll be okay. But top lane's just being chunked a little bit. Roger up here, just being annoying.
Get him with the double siege creeps, man. He's gonna TP away, and this is it. Look
how much.
Look, it's the Drow Ranger aura with double creeps.
Oh
double
my
siege
god.
Creeps. Okay, Secret, you got, Secret's gotta be a lot more aware of this strategy, because They can't let that happen again. If they lose a tier 3 for free like that, what a blow it would be to have your shrines taken away so early in this game.
That really reminds me of the Alacrity Brewmaster that Wings did.
Yeah.
And they played it against, I think it was EG, right?
Yep.
And they were just like, our mid-rax is dead. That was literally their voice communication. They just looked at it, wait a minute, our mid-rax is gone. What happened? That was a crazy game. But yeah, it's something you don't see very often, and it's kind of one of the things that makes you just keep coming back and playing Dota. It's stuff like that. Even just those 2 catapults with the Drower. You don't think about it, right?
Yep.
It just happens. And then because it happens, you have to remember that it's a possibility. And at this point, you know, Secret's still trying to buy themselves a little bit of time. MP is working towards, looks like a Shadow Blade right now, so he'll start to have that initiation potential, and he'll also do a little bit more damage. And then you have just the Kezu Beastmaster. Just, he's camping down here. This is his life now.
It's always going to keep going. He's actually thinking about Blink Dagger, which make it harder for them to actually gank him, but Beastmaster with Boots of Travel makes him a lot faster here. And I don't mean movement speed only, I mean the fact that he's just always going to be able to push out that bottom lane and still be able to join his team for top lane fights, vice versa.
Yeah, I like the bot's choice. It's just such good synergy with your own hero. Like, you can just bot to a Hawk.
Yeah, I like that play too.
You bot behind somebody, you know, they're not ready for it. You get a quick roar on a high priority hero, you just kill them right away.
That was all the rage. Remember the Hawk was faster than heroes?
Oh my god. That was like, that hero was so broken back then.
Smoke charge in. They're going to lead on to Puppey here. This should be a freebie. Doesn't look like Team C are going to get a whole lot more else unless they found Maposhka, or Maposhka found Yapzor. Managed to get the charge onto him.
Man, look at this build from Resolution. This is not the norm.
No, certainly not. A full-on anti-Phantom Lancer build.
It's anti-Phantom Lancer, and it's also an insane amount of lane pressure. Once he finishes that build, you actually push really fast. You get the extra Maelstrom procs, obviously. You have the Aghanim, so your arrows split off, and they also get the benefit of crossed arrows, too. It's just so uncommon to see that item that I think people might actually forget that. But when you can slow all those heroes by 64% just by auto-attacking, good luck running away. Like, you're just not moving.
Which means Secret desperately need to be able to find the initiation in these games where Shadow Blade for MP is all the more important. Maybe Kezu's Blink Dagger as well, and they're still trying to farm those items up. Bid one, how's he doing in farm? He is going to go for the full-out Manta. What are your thoughts on Aghanims here for this game, knowing that Empire is going to be pushing into you a lot?
I think Aghanims is great for delaying, and I think it's also great for pushing. Definitely better than Manta, I think, on a hero like PL, where you get like the talent that gives you the extra Spirit Lance damage with the Aghanims, and it's strong. Yapzor in the meantime, though, going in.
Does manage to get the Spike Carapace off, stalls up. What looks to be his death as FN Pop of the Stone Gaze makes it pretty easy. Also get Puppey here. Mid one coming in. I thought that, you know, that was just to give away support. Team Secret, a little bit of save a friend syndrome. May lose more than just their 2 supports. Resolution trying to chase down Kezu right now. Not going to be able to spot him out in time. Nice loop-de-loop into the trees. And away from that stunning Maposhka.
I think Secret are getting a little bit, not necessarily desperate, but they're nervous, and they're like, okay, we need to find an opening. Because in the first game, Secret were the ones who were kind of applying all the pressure for a very long period of time. Might see a Chrono here mid, though. Shadow Blade in. No Sentry.
Chronosphere on to 2. They are going to try and chase down Maposhka while MP puts the damage onto Roger. Not quite enough there. Meanwhile, Gostic managed to get the control on a mid one. Does manage to get the Doppelganger just in time before the stun with the Cold Embrace there. They are going to be able to keep him alive. He's silenced up now, though. Resolution actually taking up Puppey's ultimate. Give him a little bit of space for mid one to be able to get away and help claim that kill. Secret only get 2 off of that. Just the 2 supports of Team Empire off the Chronosphere. But it's still space and time. Give it to them.
That was a really nice ult from Puppey. Just recognizing, you know, if he didn't throw that out mid one, most likely would have just died. So manages to get out with the use of the Phantom Rush. It's did he actually get the kill?
Oh,
yeah,
there's a Sentry, but a Sentry over here. It's actually the Radiant one, so they don't actually catch Yapzor at all. In fact, it's a Resolution, almost gets caught. They manage to get the dust out finally. The call down, but didn't actually hit mid-one, so he gets the Doppelganger down. It's just going to be able to run down Resolution, finishes him off. Mostly Secret is down to half HP, though, but do they have the damage to actually finish up these heroes? Especially with mid-one playing the in and out game. Nice! Another Doppelganger as he forces out the call, dancing circles around Gostic. He had so much trouble with him earlier. Looks like they're still going to lose Kezu, though. So a 1-for-1 core trade-off. Well worth it to Secret's favor, though. It's Resolution. The big-time net worth leader was sitting at 13K.
Without that Drow alive, they lose a tremendous amount of damage. Like, Medusa and Enchantress are predominantly right-click heroes.
Yeah.
You don't have the aura on top of that, you're going to feel pretty bad about it. Mapushka's going to get spotted here because he was going on a warding mission. He's going to pay with his life.
He's got the charge, but it obviously will not get away from Nyx's Assassin. It's one of the great things about him. Counters any of those Tim
trust me,
type heroes.
I know how much you like that hero. I've seen it.
Oh god, hope you haven't seen the bad games of Nyx's Assassin. You know, that's the thing. You play Nyx's Assassin, no matter how good you are with it, you always have the bad games of Nyx's Assassin. And those games just snowball.
You just like can't hit a stun, and you're just like, oh my god, please.
You just start tilting yourself. You're just like, it's like, I always say like the first hook shot and the first Nyx Assassin stun are like the most important stuns of the game, right? Because if you start off and you hit that, you feel good, you're gonna feel confident, and you're gonna keep hitting them. But if you miss that one, it could all go badly.
Thank God the Yapzor's playing it and not either of us.
You know anything about Yapzor? He's certainly
Chrono.
a confident person. Two-man Chrono Spear on the edges too, so mid-one can even get some damage in. FN is able to get off the Stone Case, but not in time to be able to save the Axe. Stalls up all these heroes, but he was also stunned up by Kezu, so his retreat is not going to be imminent. He's running out of mana fast. He does have the Aegis, and here comes Resolution, setting up here. Where does he want to go to? He's biding his time. They're going to start going on to Roger. Resolution trying to pick his target. He wants to go for Puppey in the backlines, it looks like, but he's just not going to be able to get close enough. So instead, they just give up Roger and keep the Aegis alive on FN.
It seems like they were really trying to fight that, and then they just decided at some point that it wasn't worth it, and it was better to just run away because no Chrono. Someone probably made the call, hey, let's try to go in, and then someone else said, no, we just want to try to, you know, play it a little bit slower. Our Medusa Aegis is gone now. Yapzor is going to be scouting that out, so they'll have the information if they want to try to go for another fight soon. But I really think that Secret kind of need Chrono. If they don't have it and they take like a large-scale fight, could be pretty bad.
Especially since FN, he's actually beginning to become a real hero. He's got the SMY Lincolns that's just kind of okay. With the Drill Ranger Aura, it actually makes him a viable threat in some of these fights. Some still gonna kind of get ignored, but it's at least output some damage. He gets this next item, though. I feel like it's a third item and finally says, all right, Dusa's online for team fight. She is a contributing factor.
That's the thing about these types of heroes. It's very hard to gauge like how much they're really doing in fights. Medusa's interesting because she still can hit pretty hard with like Mystic Snake, for example. You get like a third or fourth bounce or even a fifth bounce hit, and it actually does an insane amount of damage. And then you also provide this unique utility of even if you have BKB, you just really cannot be damaged for like 7 full seconds, because if you look at the Medusa, you just get hit by the Stone Gaze. And the great thing about their lineup is that a lot of their damage is not reliant on magic at all. So when you get stunned, you're taking the same amount of damage from the Enchantress and the Drow Ranger and pretty much anyone else who's hitting you. So there's just huge implications of synergy behind someone getting frozen by that ult.
You know, Draskell, you and I don't get to cast as often together as I would like, so I always like to put out these little feelers to kind of see what you're like as a player.
Okay.
How you feeling about Aghanim's Dusa? I've tried it a couple times.
They buffed it again, right?
Yeah, they buffed it a little bit.
So, personally, I feel if you can buy an Aghanim's on Medusa, your team either A, already has a tremendous lead and it probably doesn't matter what you buy, or you just have insane damage and really all you need is a tiny bit of control.
I feel the same way. It's kind of like one of those items that I get, and when I get it, I'm just like, oh, I guess I've already won the game.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And if you get it when it's really needed, it just doesn't seem to be impactful enough.
Yeah.
Right? It's just down to your Mystic Snake. And
I was kind of curious as to what the purpose of that particular Aghanim's was.
Yeah.
Because getting like a bounce big enough to warrant the stun on that is like
super unreliable.
Yeah, it's just not realistic, and it's not your hero's job either.
And like if you get the like half-second stun on one of the close heroes, you sometimes don't even get a right click off before he's unstoned.
Because you bought an Aghanims and you have no attack speed.
Obviously, FN, he's not going for an Aghanim Scepter, he's going for the Butterfly. Much better item choice.
Yeah.
Both of us agree. Charge in the bottom lane. Oh, it looks like Chronosphere going to be used to kill a Spirit Breaker. So I'm sure Empire aren't going to be too threatened by that. Secret are just going to take the free kill and back away.
This is a little bit of a strange choice, though, I feel, because, okay, you Chrono to kill the SB. The Chrono cooldown, I guess, it's, what, 2 minutes? 125 seconds. So in this scenario, it might be okay. They get
Whoa, that is not synergy whatsoever. Both ultimates being used there. Mid-one caught in Ghostic's call as well. They are still going to be able to run down Resolution if they get the counter vision out. He turns around, throws out a little bit of damage on the MP. Looks like 1-for-1 trade-off there. Oh, Puppey unable to make it over the trees, but that's okay. They're ignoring him anyway. They're going for Yapsor instead. Nice 3-man stun. And Mid-one can actually come in here and clean up. Ghostic's already low enough. And Mid-one's low too, though, so he doesn't want to commit because he was going to try and commit, but he's not able to finish him off the boards. He's actually going to die instead. Empire hold pretty damn well, thanks in a large part to Team Secret's utterly bungled initiation.
I feel like I don't even think that's miscommunication. I think that Puppey didn't realize that he was going to be able to get in range fast enough, like the Beastmaster, because they just throw the Roar and the Curse right on top of each other. So a little bit unfortunate, because obviously you want to roar someone when they can actually take damage. But even, you know, that aside, they didn't have Chrono. They messed up their initiation. They still managed to get a pretty important core kill. And I think if Mid-one hadn't taken so much damage at the beginning of that team fight, that they probably would have just killed everyone.
Yeah.
Because PL's kind of at that stage now where he's got the Manta, he's got the level 2 Diffusal, he's feeling pretty strong, and they can't deal with him unless they kill him in a call. That's like their way of executing him more or less. And that's also going back to earlier we talked about the Manta choice instead of the Aghanims. He needs it for drop. Like, if he doesn't have it, he's going to get gusted and die.
I don't know. I think Secret have missed their timing. Because now you've got Butterfly up on the Dusa, and Phantom Lancer isn't nearly the threat he once was against his hero. Because you've got the level 20 plus 600 mana, and you've got a
Chrono, I guess.
Percentage. Now the Chronosphere, FN is losing his mana pretty fast here, unable to get off the Stone Gaze. That means he's dead for sure. He's going to get run down, and Maposhka is the added cherry on top. So Secret, right in front of a Roche Pit, managed to get 2 kills. Seems like a pretty clear objective turn.
Yeah, this is where the Beastmaster really comes into play too. You get the extra vision around the pit just in case someone tries to go for like an Aegis steal. You have the ability to kill Roshan super fast with pretty much no risk. That inner beast aura just being super strong. But going back to your point about the Medusa and like Secret kind of missing the window, obviously in hindsight, they got picked off, right? The Medusa was too far forward, got killed, maybe overestimated his own survivability. But playing against the Nyx as Medusa, you never really feel like you're the ultimate tank.
That's true.
You never get to that, and I mean, sure you've played against Medusa as well, being Nyx. You just always like, I'm gonna go in there and mana burn that guy. And then your survivability just goes down the toilet. Because not only are you taking damage, but you're losing mana and taking damage at the same time. It's just brutal. That's why he's buying that BKB, right? Because he just needs it.
Opening initiation onto Ghostic.
Wow.
No chance for a call there, that's for sure. Now an extra pickoff. Force Staff helping defend Resolution, but Poshka also pushes the enemy heroes back, but the Purge is going to be able to slow down Resolution for these cores to be able to catch up, get on top of him. Puppey's going to go for one more. And yeah, I think he's dead too. Roger's gone, and Secret just off the game of pickoffs have just maybe taken a full lane of Rex, maybe are in a position to straight up end the game sort of scenario. Everything was looking so good for Empire 5 minutes ago, and then
the domino effect.
Yeah.
One pickoff leads into Roshan. That's why I was really worried about the usage of the Chronosphere, because Roshan was going to be spawning really... They're going to get Maposhka as well. Jeez, they just keep finding him one by one.
This is at least 2 lanes for Axe, right? 40 seconds.
They're going to get bottom too, yeah, I would imagine. Well, Axe being alive, does he go for it though? That's the thing. Like, do you value your life that much not having buyback and just say, okay, I need to wait because there's a tier 2 top?
Well, he's not really going to get a good opportunity with that aggressive ward laid down by Yapsor, so...
And the boar, too. Yeah, it looks like it'll go down. Yeah, they're just going to wait it out. It's probably the safer play, because if you go in and die now, the game is just... It's pretty much over, right? Yeah. Like, they walk top, they kill the tier 2, then they just walk down, but... that was probably the most unfortunate series of events, like back-to-back, just continually getting picked off, maybe overestimating your own survivability or underestimating the initiation potential of Secret, because they have 2 blinks, right? They have the blink on Puppy and they have the blink on Kezu as well. So they can close the gap with pretty fast timings. It's just sometimes you feel like you're in a great spot, you overestimate yourself just that one tiny bit, and an experienced team will almost always punish you.
Orb of Venom from the side shop, and that will be Midwan's Shiva. Excuse me, Scotty.
Scotty, yeah.
Man, why are there 2 frost items with starting with an S?
I don't know.
It screws with my...
I mean, they're fictional characters already, like, even outside of Dota, so... And they are kind of frost-themed, I guess. Although Scotty, I'm not as sure about. I know less about that.
I can't tell you the number of times that I've seen, like get him with the Scotty slow when it's Shivas.
Yeah.
And when somebody picks up, like, you know, the Scotty, I say they picked up the Shivas.
It's okay, I'm really bad with, like, confusing player names sometimes. Like, I'll call somebody by a different name, and that's way worse than missing an item, so...
Gostic does have a BKB, so he'll be okay or not. Kezu does have the Bramble Roar ready to go, so slows him down. That's a 10-second BKB, as well as Axe and his BKB on cooldown. 50 seconds and 60 seconds, respectively, which means Team Secret just run down it. Run down that tier 2, go straight for the top lane of ranks, get those megas. Team Empire are going to be forced into a 4 versus 5 high ground defense, most likely.
This is really troublesome. The PL pick has come in huge this game as well. Mid one, obviously a fantastic player, but you give him something like this where he can really push the limits, just be in the fight as long as humanly possible, because that's really what PL wants. He just wants to be in the fight, burn all your mana, just be that constant nuisance he's gonna see. Yeah.
FN's dead.
He has buyback, I think. Yeah, he does.
Fortunately, this means, while it may cost him his buyback, they will at least have a 5-on-5 for this tier 3. Maybe at least the racks, I'm not sure. How fast Team Secret can take down this tier 3, because it's going to be pretty fast.
Yeah, he has to buy back. Like, they can't let this die.
Yeah.
There we go.
With the glyph, they'll defend that tier 3. Looks like they caught Puppy, so it's a 1 pick off. Team Secret not going to be able to end the game, or at least attempt to do so just yet. Like this gem picked up by the Beastmaster. They're actually still kind of trying this one out. They do manage to get the stun, but the Stone Gaze goes off first. That's huge. FN will stop Secret's attempt to go on him, but they need some follow-up. They need to be able to catch these heroes. Midwan is going to be caught here, but the Primal Roar goes down before Gossip can actually get off his call, which means Midwan has the free space to lay out some damage, especially with that Doppelganger. He'll rip apart Roger, turns towards Resolution, gets the push back, but he's not going to make it far. Gossip trying to defend Resolution as long as he can, catches MP, but MP eats the cheese, and now he's got Time Walk up as well, and Resolution just cannot be saved. These heroes just keep running at him, and Empire cannot stem the flood of heroes. They're going to get overrun, and Empire are going to lose game number 2. Secret was looking a little shaky for them early games. Seems like just the exact opposite of our game number 1. Secret looked solid in the beginning, ended up losing it. Looked shaky in the beginning, still managed to win.
I guess the theme of this particular series is pushing really fast just loses, I guess. I don't know. This game was a bit different, though, because Empire had a tangible lead. Yep. They had like 9k net worth at one point, I want to say. They had map control. They were winning pretty much, I guess, the side lanes. And then, obviously, mid one was doing pretty okay in middle. But at some point, just that middle push, FN being really far out, getting picked, losing Roshan, getting picked again, getting picked a 3rd time. And it's just, when stuff like that happens, a very close game or even a game where you're leading, you can just lose in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes Dota at this level so stressful, because if you let the team get the punish on you that hard, there's no coming back anymore. It's like you've given away a set of racks, you know, your heroes don't have buyback. You give away objective after objective, and it's just, they say snowball, but this is like the epitome of a snowball.
Yeah. This is heroes like, I feel like that's a lot of what's going to be the meta, is having pretty well-rounded lineups, and one hero at least needs to give you a lot of pushing power, or at least really good Roche taking.